Hello everybody, welcome to Hatha Yoga. My name is Michelle Chua. For today's practice, you may need a strap as well as 2 yoga blocks. The latter we will use. So let's start in the seated position. And as you bring your legs to some form of Sukhasana or easy pose, let's begin by placing the right shin either forward or on top of the left shin in some form of a cross-legged position. Now, if you find that this causes your back to round, you can grab a block or a folded blanket to sit on, so that by elevating your pelvis, you can allow your knees to fall more easily towards the ground. And then just take a moment to rock side to side on your sitting bones. Root them each as evenly as you can. And then as you press downward to your pelvis, lift up through the front and the back of your spine, rolling your shoulders slightly behind your ears and down. And from here, take a deep inhale. Hugging in the belly and the front ribs. Exhale, begin to fold forward. Now here you might want to place blocks or a tower of yoga blocks to place your hands on, to place your forearms on, perhaps to rest your forehead on, as we're going to be here for about a minute before we switch legs. Just begin to connect with how you're feeling in your body, how you're feeling mentally and emotionally. I'd like to start with this quote by Annie Besant. Happiness exists perennially within you. It is your normal state. You have not to seek it. You will necessarily be happy if you get rid of the obstacles called pain, which are in the modes of the mind. Happiness is not a secondary thing, but pain is. And these painful things are obstacles to be got rid of. When they have stopped, you must be happy. Now, I think it's important to define the word pain here, not when you get, socked in the head. That's just in your mind. Not that kind of pain. More of the suffering that we induce in ourselves through our perception of events. So here is an explanation by Meditations from the Mat. Let's begin to deepen the breath as you're still folding forward. Non-doing is the key to happiness. To become happy, we simply have to stop making ourselves unhappy. Many of us don't believe it could be so simple. We are compelled to act out in ways that cause pain to ourselves and others. We act the way we do, we believe, because we are so unhappy. We fail to see is that we are so unhappy because of our behavior. Let's take another deep inhalation, lifting the chest as you broaden it. Exhale through the mouth. As you draw your belly in, walk your hands towards your legs and slowly lift your spine on an inhalation. And from here, we'll simply switch the cross of your legs, placing your left shin forward or on top of the right shin. Ground your 2 sitting bones, lift through the sides of your torso, the front and back of your torso. Take a deep inhale, then exhale, begin to fold forward. Take your time here. Each inhale, pause as you reroot your sitting bones and lengthen your spine. And each exhale, see if you might be able to fold a little further. You might be using props here to support your hands, forearms, or head. And so, Aristotle wrote, what we have the power to do, we have the power not to do. But many of us don't believe this. We have our scripts for life and we adhere to them unquestionably. I cannot forgive so-and-so, we tell ourselves, even if that means we'll be trapped in an unhealthy relationship with this person that extends beyond the grave. Another popular script says, I am a person who does not make mistakes. Therefore, I cannot say I am sorry. Yet another script reads, in my family, we are not like that, and we do not do this. There are so many scripts as stars in the sky. And none of them are true unless we make them true. We are not practicing yoga to take the edge off or to loosen up or to get in shape, but rather we practice yoga to become free. Pratyahara is about becoming free, this fifth limb of the 8 limbs of yoga. So let's begin to rise from your forward fold as you inhale, lifting your spine upright, coming out of this hip opener that we just practiced on both sides. Extend your legs forward and begin to windshield wiper your feet by rotating your thigh bones at the hips. So your legs coming inward and outward. As I mentioned before the start of class today, we'll be focusing on quite a bit of hip openers, and that's related to the chakra known as svadhistana, the sacral energy center. I'll tell you more about that as we move along the practice. From here, stepping your 2 heels wider apart, turn out your thighs at your hip sockets. And if the soles of your feet are not completely on the ground, as mine are not, go ahead and flex your feet so your toes are curled up towards the kneecaps. Now in the seated squat position, bring your left hand to the inner side of your left thigh. So placing that hand on the floor, raise your right arm towards the sky and begin to lift up to your sternum, the middle of your chest, while grounding downward to your pelvis. Let your shoulder blades melt down your back ribs. Take a deep inhale here, and then begin to side bend over to your left. So I'm mirroring you here, so that right arm that's extending towards the sky is reaching towards your left wall overhead. And you take a few deep breaths into the right side of your rib cage, helping that extension laterally of your side body. Now, if you have a strap, go ahead and take hold of it in your right hand, and you'll swing it around you, behind you, so that your left hand can reach underneath your left thigh and catch the other end of that strap. And then begin to roll the shoulders back and down, lifting the chest, let your belly firm in. And then as you nudge your inner left thigh with your left forearm, press back into your arm with your thigh so that left leg stays stable as leverage, turning this into a spinal twist, as well as opening the front of your shoulders. Let's take a few breaths here. See if you might be able to crawl your hands even closer together along that strap. You might be able to reach and clasp your fingers without the strap. Rotating your chest to face your right wall. Relaxing your shoulders down your back, lengthening through all sides of your neck. 3 more deep breaths here as you start to breathe just through your nose, if that's available for you right now. So with lips closed, inhaling fully through the nose, exhaling slowly. 1 more breath. And on your exhalation, unwind from that twist. Bring your right hand on the inner side of your right thigh, walking it away from you. As you nudge your right thigh open, let your right thigh be a stability to press against. Left arm towards the sky. Lift through the sides of your waist, round your pelvis. Take a deep breath. Shoulders relaxing down. Exhale, side bend to your right. So that left arm reaching towards the sky is moving overhead towards your right wall. Lifting the spine as you inhale. Laterally extending your spine as you exhale. Visualize the left side of your rib cage, breathing deep into that. And now rising, grab hold of your strap in your left hand And swing that long end of the strap behind your back so that your right hand can reach underneath your right thigh and grab the other end of the strap. Then again, pressing against your right thigh with your right arm, walk your hands as close together as you can on that strap. Lift your spine as you ground your pelvis, taking a deep breath. This time, rotate your rib cage so that your chest begins to turn to face your left wall. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, continue to twist, broadening your chest. Now, if you're able to reach, you might clasp your fingers, letting go of the strap in this bind. Now, can you begin to create a soft whispering sound, if you're not already, through your breathing by closing your lips while softly narrowing the back of your throat, using Ujjayi Pranayama, or victorious breathing. Last 2 breaths here. Feel expansion across your chest as your shoulders soften back and down, the rotation at your mid-torso. On your next exhale, unwind from the twist. Bring the soles of your feet to touch for Srikanasana. As you catch hold of your big toes or your outer feet, slide your heels as close to your pelvis as you can sit tall. Press downward through your sitting bones and then lift up through the center of your spine. Really feel this open space at your throat and that your shoulders are relaxed. Belly is firming in. Exhale, begin to hinge forward from your hips. Not all the way, just pause for a moment as you breathe in. Press downward through your sitting bones. And again, lengthen your spine some more as you breathe in. Keeping your throat and chest open. Exhale if you have it available. Hinge forward even more. For about 3 more breaths, you might choose to walk your hands forward. Lengthen from your outer hips to your outer armpits. Lengthen from your ears down to your shoulders. Feel the strength of your abdomen here as you begin to walk your hands towards your feet, lifting from your chest. Inhale to rise. Now, joining your hands together at your heart, maybe even closing your eyes, allow a moment to pause and bring mindful awareness to your why. Why are you here today? Why have you set aside an hour and 5 minutes in yoga? Let this intention that you're setting help anchor you when you might find your attention wandering into some storyline. Bring it back in with your sankalpa. Let's take a deep breath in for 1 chant of Om. Breathing in through your nose deeply, whispering it out through your nose softly, back to your Ujjayi Pranayama. Then as you open your eyes, please find your 2 yoga blocks, and we're going to place them on their tallest height at the top of your mat, your shoulders distance apart. Then come onto all fours so that you are in modified plank position, so your knees are directly under your hips. And as your index fingers graze the back center of each block, your wrists are directly under your shoulders. Spread your fingers really wide and really press down to your finger pads, the fingertips, as though they're suction cups, so that you feel a slight lift of energy through the center of your palms. Now gaze ahead of your hands on the floor, lengthening your neck. Broaden your chest Spiral the outer sides of your upper arms towards the wall behind you so that you feel your shoulder blades plug into your back ribs. Lifting your navel, engage your belly. Keep the feeling of a flat back from tailbone to the crown of your head. And on your next inhale, glide forward so your shoulders glide about a foot ahead of your wrist. Keep the belly lifted, keep the neck long. Exhale, bend your elbows to graze your side ribs, tapping the blocks with your shoulders. Pause here. Keep looking forward. Inhale, lift navel towards spine. Exhale, press up like a push-up and glide your shoulders back to stack over your wrists. 3 more. Moving through Chaturanga Push-Ups. Inhale forward. Keep your neck long, gazing forward. Exhale, bend the elbows to graze your side ribs. Pause here in Chaturanga. Inhale, lift the belly towards the back. Keep gazing ahead. Exhale, press up. Glide the shoulders back to stack over your wrists. 2 more. Inhale forward. Keep looking ahead. Exhale, lower. Keep the shoulder blades down away from the ears. Inhale, pause. Belly stays engaged. Exhale, press up and glide back. Last time. Inhale forward. Exhale, hug the elbows to your side ribs. Keep looking forward. Shoulder blades away from the neck. Exhale, firm the belly, press up, and glide back. Let's put the blocks aside. Lean back towards your shins for a moment, and making fists out of your hands. Bring your fists together, like you're giving yourself a fist bump, and then press the backs of your fists onto the floor, gently rolling your weight forward to the amount that you choose to feel the intensity of the stretch in your outer wrists and forearms. And you might lightly shake your head no here to feel that your neck is relaxed. Your shoulders are soft, away from your neck. Notice the sound of your breathing, still calm and balanced. 2 more breaths. Lean back onto your shins, shaking out your arms, maybe circling out your wrists. Inhale your arms overhead, hook your thumbs. Exhale, roll your shoulders back and down, slightly coiling your chest up as you firm in your belly. Draw the tailbone towards your heels. Inhale, extend the arms upright, and then bring the palms down your center line as you breathe out. Plant your hands in front, tuck your toes behind. Lift your hips high into downward facing dog. Take a few breaths on your own to move any way that you'd like to arrive in this pose. Feel your hands press the floor as though they're trying to push the mat away from your feet. Feel the lift of your hips, the firmness of your abdomen. And on your next inhale, raise your right leg up high behind you. As you exhale, bending your right knee, begin to rotate your right thigh bone at the hip. Take that a few circles in one direction, breathing in. Breathing out, you have the option of lowering your left knee to the ground here for added support, and then circle in the opposite direction, that right thigh bone at the hip. All the while, be mindful of not twisting here at your shoulders. Try to keep your shoulders evenly spaced away from your neck, both hands evenly weighted. Then extend your right leg back and square your hips so your hip bones face the floor. Take a deep breath in. And then exhale, begin to round forward through plank, bending your right knee towards your nose. And with your belly engaged, softly step your right foot outside of your right hand, entering lizard lunge. Now here you could have your hands on the floor or on blocks. We're going to add some movements, setting your back knee on the ground. Keep your right knee and middle toe facing forward rather than turning out to the right here. Take a deep breath. Shoulders relaxed. As you exhale, lifting your right toes, flex the foot and begin to straighten your right leg while bowing inside of it. Scissor your right hip back. Extend your chest forward. Inhale, rebend your right knee. Set the sole of your right foot entirely on the floor. Exhale, straighten your right leg and fold. 3 more rounds of breath. Inhale, bend, lizard lunge. Exhale, straighten, half split. Inhale, bend. Exhale, half split. Inhale, bend. Exhale, half split. Now come back to your lizard lunge. Use the blocks at any height you might need to use them, and tuck your back toes so that you're high on the ball of your left foot. Just begin to gently rock forward and back, forward and back. Then flexing your right foot, splay your right thigh open. So now you're leaning that knife outer edge, the pinky toe side of your right foot on the floor. Now here, adjust your blocks any height you might need. Some of you might find it possible to lower onto your forearms, whether your forearms are on the ground or on blocks. Wherever your hands are placed, see if you might be able to use your right hand to gently hold on to your inner right calf, the lower calf, and then nudge your right elbow against your inner right thigh as you continue to scissor your right hip back. Extend your sternum and the crown of your head down the midline of your mat towards your front wall, while turning your chest to rotate to face your right wall. 3 more breaths. So here we're in more active version of lizard lunge by keeping the left knee lifted, bringing some strength and aliveness into your back leg. And then from here, set your 2 hands on the ground, stepping back into plank pose, top of a push-up. Whether you decide to keep your knees on the floor or straighten your legs this time around. 3 breaths. With your shoulders over your wrists, gaze ahead of your hands on the floor, lift your navel and the sides of your waist. On your exhalation, glide your shoulders about a foot forward of your wrists, graze your elbows by your side ribs, passing through Chaturanga, come all the way down. Resting your forehead on the ground, point your toes and firm down through the tops of your feet for Shalabhasana, Locust pose. Clasping your hands behind your lower back. Keep your feet heavy on the floor. As you inhale, coil your chest up, lifting your head lightly, and draw your shoulder blades down your back. Take at least 4 more deep breaths here. So think more of length. You're lengthening the center of your chest forward towards your front wall. You're lengthening your tailbone towards your inner heels, and your inner heels towards your rear wall. Can you feel space along the sides and back of your neck? And on your next exhale, plant your hands alongside your floating ribs and practice either cobra, hugging the elbows close to your sides, or upward facing dog, lifting your pelvis off the floor. 2 to 3 breaths. Broaden your chest. Lengthen your legs actively. Then as you hollow your belly on an exhale, lift your hips high, returning to downward facing dog. Deep breath in, out to your nose. Inhale, raise your left leg behind you. And as you exhale, bending your left knee, begin to rotate your left thigh bone at your hip. Several times here. Inhale. Exhale. And switch the circles. Opposite direction. Let your neck relax, your head hang, and your 2 hands solidly rooting down to lift energy up your arms, shoulders, and hips. Inhale, straighten your left leg behind you. Turn the left outer hip to face the ground. Exhale, round forward, bending your left knee towards your nose in plank. Gently as you can, step your left foot forward outside of your left hand, lowering your back knee into lizard lunge. Feel free to grab your blocks to place under your hands here. Now with front knee right on top of front heel, keep your knee and middle toe facing forward. Take a deep breath in. Begin to lift your left toes, flexing the foot as you straighten your left leg. Bow inside of it. Inhale, rebend your left knee, set your foot on the ground. Exhale, scissor your left hip back, straighten and fold. 3 more cycles of breath. Inhale, lizard lunge. Exhale, scissor your left hip, straighten and fold. Inhale, lizard lunge. Exhale, straighten and fold. Inhale, lizard lunge. So we're embodying the quality of water, which is related, the element related to the sacral energy center, svadhistana chakra. So coming back to lunge, tuck your right toes, lift your right knee, feel the power of your right leg as you take a moment to gently rock forward and back, giving your right calf and Achilles tendon a gentle stretch. Still listening to your breathing here. Have your hands on blocks or the floor at the height that you need them to keep your back knee lifted in this more active version as you flex your left foot and splay your left thigh open. So you're just leaning the knife outer edge of your left foot on the floor. If possible, you can place your forearms down on your blocks or the ground. Then take your left hand and catch hold of your inner left ankle calf region so that your left elbow can gently nudge your inner left thigh to splay open while plugging the left thigh bone back deeper into the hip socket and lengthening your torso forward while spiraling your chest open to face your left wall. Deep breath in, whispering the breath through your nose. About 3 more breaths. On your next exhale, begin to make your way into plank pose. In your version of plank, pause for a deep inhale, belly lifted, neck long, shoulder blades down your back. Exhale, glide forward then lower through Chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or upward facing duck. Exhale, downward facing duck. Step your feet 1 foot forward closer to your hands. Then separate your feet about as wide as the width of your mat, preparing for a twist. Left hand stays on the floor or propped on a block. Cross your right hand to catch hold of your outer left calf or ankle. Rooting your right heel into the earth, spiral your chest to face your left wall, and then let your skull be heavy. Soften your neck. Lift your shoulders away from it. A few breaths in the spinal twist. Set your right hand down in front on a block of the floor, and let's switch. Cross your left hand to catch hold of your right calf or ankle. Firm your left heel into the earth. Spiral your chest to face your right wall, and let your head fall. Deep breaths. Walk your hands back to meet your feet. Heel toe your feet together to touch. Bending your knees, Inhale, sit into chair pose or Utkatasana, and let's stay a few breaths. As you glide your weight towards your shins, let your shin bones glide back enough where if you were to look down, you could see your toes. Then let your tailbone sink behind you as you hug your front ribs in towards your back body. Broaden your chest, gazing at eye level in front of you. Soften your shoulders down. Last 2 breaths. Press to your feet and exhale to rise. Step up to the top of your mat. Inhale, sweep your arms overhead. Catch hold of your left wrist. Exhale, lift your spine, side bend to your right. Inhale, rise to center. Catch hold of your right wrist. Exhale, lift your spine, side bend to the left. Inhale, rise to center. Exhale, bend your knees again into chair pose. Inhale in chair pose. Exhale, lower to sit in Navasana, boat pose. Either catching hold of the backs of your thighs with your hands, or placing your hands on the floor, or extending your arms forward with your palms turned up. Keep your knees bent together or legs straight together. Think of lifting your pelvic floor. Last week we practiced Mula Bandha, which is the root chakra lock, in which you contract the anal sphincter and the perineum, lifting your pelvic floor, as well as Uddiyana Bandha, the abdominal lock, in which you draw the lower belly inward and upward towards the ribcage. Relax your shoulders for 3 more breaths. Tall spine, lifted heart. Deep inhale. And exhale, catch hold of the backs of your thighs, bend your knees, and start to rock forward and back several times. As you rock back, you might take a tinge of plow pose. As you rock forward, you might land your feet into a squat, Malasana. 2 more rounds of rocking forward and back. And grab hold of your blocks as well as your strap. And let's come on up to stand at the center of your mat, facing the wide way. So as you open your arms, step your feet apart, almost as wide apart as your wrists, to prepare for triangle pose. And then place your blocks behind your calves. And we'll just put the strap in front of you for now. We're not going to use it quite yet, just to have it nearby. So I'm going to mirror you. Turn your left leg out 90 degrees from the hip socket, so your left knee and toes trace the midline of your mat. And then turn your right leg in 45 degrees from the hip socket. From here, with legs straight, think of lifting your kneecaps by flexing the front muscles of your thighs without locking your knees. Lower belly draws in and up. Open your arms wide, relax your shoulders. Then gliding your hips towards your right leg, reach your left hand forward past your left knee, drawing your left hip crease back towards your outer right heel. Place your left hand down on your left shin or the block right against your leg, outside of your leg, or on the floor. Raise your right arm towards the sky and find one focal point for your eyes as you steady your drishti, your gaze, for 5 breaths. Srikanasana. From here, bring your right hand to your right hip, prepare for Ardha Chandrasana, half moon. Bending your left knee, crawl your left fingertips a foot ahead of your left foot and out to the left upper corner. Drag your right foot forward, flexing your right foot, Lift your right heel about the height of your right hip and turn your chest open like triangle pose. Maybe raising your right arm up. Again, steady your gaze, your drishti. And let's take another 5 breaths. Half moon pose. Bending your left knee, step gently back into triangle pose. Press through your feet in triangle pose. And inhale, rise up to stand. You're gonna go right to side 2. Rotate, start with your feet parallel, a more neutral position in this wide stance. And then rotate from your right hip socket. Turn out your right leg 90 degrees. Turn in your left leg 45 degrees. Aligning your right heel to the arch of your left leg. With your legs straight, engage the front muscles of your thighs, your belly. Open your arms wide. Glide your hips sideways towards your left heel, reaching your right hand beyond your right knee before lowering it onto your right shin, or to the right of your shin, maybe on a block, or onto the floor. Wrap your right outer hip under, raise your left arm straight up, and spiral your chest open towards the sky. 5 breaths. Steady gaze. Now here's the blueprint for the next posture, which is half moon pose. So feel the shape of this posture. Now let's take it into one leg. You may like to bring your left hand to your left hip as we transition. Gaze down beyond your right foot and bend your right knee. Walk your right hand about a foot ahead of your right foot off to the right. Drag your left foot in, flex it, and lift the heel about the height of your left hip. Bring your chest open, and maybe raise your left arm. Steadying your gaze, 5 breaths in Ardha Chandrasana. Bending your right knee, perhaps gaze down past your right foot. Softly land, triangle pose again, both legs straight. Pause in triangle once you've landed. Come down to your feet. Then inhale, rise all the way up to stand. So keep this wide stance and please grab your strap. Now from your both hips, turn out both of your legs. Bend your knees so that you're in a wide-legged squat. Sort of like a horse stance. Make sure that your knees are safe here in alignment so that you're only turning out your legs to the degree where the center of each kneecap aligns with a center toe underneath. Now take your strap in your right hand, wrap your strap behind you around your waist so that it dangles outside of your left thigh. Bring your left hand on the inner side of your left thigh to catch hold of that other end of the strap. Now as you come a little deeper into the squat, nudge your left arm against your left thigh, but keep your left thigh stable so that you can use it to rotate your chest, looking up towards the sky. Shoulder blades down the back, breathe in. Belly drawing in, exhale, see if you might be able to twist some more. Maybe you walk your hands close enough together where they clasp. One more breath in. Exhale and wind your arms, grab the strap in one hand, straighten your legs, and rise up to sit. All right, so take your left hand, wrap it behind you so it dangles outside of your right thigh. Bend your knees again. Come back to your goddess pose, also known as that. And then bring your right arm inside of your right thigh to find the other end of the strap. Nudge your right arm against your thigh, but keep your thigh stable from which to turn your chest. Inhale, lengthen your spine from your pelvis. Exhale, rotate your chest, soften your shoulders down. See if you might be able to bring your hands closer together on the strap. Tailbone is lengthening downward rather than pointing back behind you. Take another deep breath. Exhale, rise. Straighten your legs, parallel your feet. Let's put the strap aside for wide-legged forward fold. Now we are going to place our hands down, so if you want to use blocks, you can place your blocks in front of you. Bring your hands to your hips to start, parallel your feet. Inhale, roll your shoulders back. Exhale with a long spine, hinge forward, lowering your hands. Coming up halfway, breathe in and press your chest forward through the gates of your arms. Keep your weight a little heavier towards the balls of your feet and exhale to fold some more. Now a few options here. You could practice Parangustasana, that's clasping your big toes with your index and middle fingers, and bending your elbows apart to pull yourself deeper into the fold. As you lift your shoulders away from your head falls forward. Practice tripod headstand. If you normally practice headstand, that's walking the hands back, creating a triangular base with your two palms and the crown of your head on the floor. Bending your elbows back like Chaturanga, arms parallel, and lifting your shoulders away from your neck. Either placing your knees on top of your upper arms like crow, or straddle the legs apart as you flex your feet off the ground. To turn your pelvic bowl upside down and come fully into the inversion. Legs together, feet flexed, tailbone lifting towards your inner heels. So whichever inversion you are practicing, let's take about 5 more breaths. Your feet are off the floor, gently ground them again. And then let's come up halfway in your forward fold, lifting the chest for a few breaths. Bending your knees, heel toe your feet close enough together so that you could lower your knees onto the floor, entering Balasana, child's pose. Inner edges of your feet to touch, knees together or apart. Arms wherever you like for a few breaths. Now preparing for single pigeon pose. You could lie on your back and take thread the needle if you prefer. Otherwise, for single pigeon, please rise to hands and knees. You may want blocks towards the foot of your mat for more options. Then cross your right shin in front of your pelvis. Straighten your left leg behind you to sit, tucking your left toes a moment. With your hands alongside your hips, lift your pelvis off the floor and scissor your right hip back, squaring your hips to face forward. Now, if it's available, parallel your right shin to the front edge of your mat and flex your right hip. Otherwise, your left heel is a bit closer to your left hip bone. Now you can fold forward, relaxing your back toes. You can spiral the left arm underneath your right elbow, coming into the other thread the needle for your upper back. Or practicing a heart opening, shoulder opening back bends in Ekapada Rajakapotasana, King Pigeon pose. So to move towards the ladder, lean your weight forward, scoot your left knee another inch or so back so that as you bend it, lifting your left foot off the floor, your weight is on your thigh, not your kneecap. Then backstroke your left arm, catching hold of your left ankle or foot. As you bring your left leg closer to your glutes, slightly kick the leg back and think of lifting your pelvic floor so that you might be able to raise your right arm towards the sky. Finding balance. Now, there's an option here if you are in King Pigeon to hook the crease, the inner crease of your elbow with the top of your left foot. And then wrapping the right arm overhead so that you can clasp your hands behind. Shoulder blades down your back. Send your left hip forward, tack your right hip back. Whatever variation of single pigeon pose you're in, let's take 3 last deep breaths. Start to make your way back onto hands and knees or downward facing dog. Allow a moment there to either shake your right leg out behind you or to gently rotate the thigh at the hip. Setting up for side 2 from hands and knees. Cross your left shin in front of your pelvis. Tuck your right toes behind you as you straighten your right leg to sit. Place your hands alongside your hips and lift your pelvis in order to scissor your left hip back and send your right hip forward to square. Now, if you are paralleling your left shin to the front edge of your mat, make sure to flex your left foot to stabilize your knee. Now, try to go for the same variation you just did on side 1 for balance. Whether you folded forward or spiral the right arm under the left bent elbow for the other thread the needle, or moving towards Ekapada Rajakapotasana, King Pigeon. For the latter, shift your weight forward and bend your right knee. Feel the weight sitting on your right thigh, not your knee. Then backstroke your right arm to open the front of your right shoulder, catching hold of your right ankle or foot. As you bring your right leg closer to your torso, gently, slightly kick it back so the counter force enables you to balance more upright with your spine as you lift your pelvic floor. With the option to raise your left arm, continue to square your hips forward. If you are in King Pigeon, you might try the variation in which you hook the crease, the inner crease of your right elbow with the top of your right foot, and then reach your left arm overhead to clasp your hands behind. Shoulder blades resting down your back. Heart space broad and lifted. Whatever variation you're in. Let's expand in this posture for 3 more breaths. Taking your time to unravel back to either all fours or downward facing dog. Give your left leg some movement at the hip. And then sliding your legs in front of you. Before we go any further towards the ground, I invite you to practice a short pranayama with me to help us ease deeper into states of inner consciousness towards meditation. So find a comfortable seat. And this breath work is quite simple. It's the box breathing known as Samavriti Pranayama. We inhale for a count of 4 through the nose. We hold the breath in for a count of 4. And we exhale, count of 4 through the nose, then hold the breath out for a count of 4, a few cycles of that. So sit in a way that aligns the crown of your head with your throat, center of your chest, with your solar plexus, with your sacral energy center below the belly button at the lower back, and your root at the base of your spine. For easier flow of energy through those 7 main energy centers. Soften your shoulders back and down. You might like to rest your hands in your lap, perhaps take a mudra for vitality. Index and middle fingers are straight. The thumbs wrap the pinky and ring finger into the center of the palm to activate bliss body, pure joy within. You bring all the fingers towards the center of the palm, except the pinky fingers, or the heart energy center activation, which is bringing the heels of the palms together, the inner thumbs together, and the inner pinky fingers together, all at the heart center, sort of like a chalice, a vessel, bringing in energy to the heart. So whatever you choose, notice what complements your sankalpa, your intention for your practice. Take a deep inhale to clear this out. Exhale slowly through your nose. Hold your breath out. Inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Take a deep breath in, fill it up slowly to the top, all the way from root to crown, throughout the spine. Exhale slowly through the mouth, all the way out. Feel the belly soften in. One more time, deep inhale, fill up slowly, expansively. Hold your breath in for a few seconds. And slowly let it go to your mouth, maybe making a sound if you like. So invite you to come into a restorative heart-opening posture with your 2 blocks. Making an equal sign out of your blocks so they're both at the medium height, crossing your mats. As you keep your pelvis on the floor, and step your feet on the ground. Lying back, land the area right underneath your shoulder blades onto the closer block. Let your shoulders drape down into the space between the blocks, then land the back of your skull on the furthest block. Rotate your upper arms so that your palms face the sky, and rest your arms slightly away from your sides. Now as your feet are wider than hips distance apart, knees bent, drop your knees together to touch, gently stretching across your lower back into your sacrum. Still part of the sacral energy center. Resting here, begin to release control of your breathing and invite stillness. Give yourself permission to not do, to not have to fidget, but instead to rest in your being, your inherent state of joy and peace without resistance. As we transition to corpse pose or Shavasana, you might just like to stay where you are if you are completely comfortable. Otherwise, make the transition gentle, slow, and mindful. Towards whatever comfortable position of rest you can lay your body in so that you can truly drop into restful stillness. Now, if you'd like to join me sitting for our last 5 minutes in meditation, please gently release your body from Shavasana into an easy stretch, carefully rising into a comfortable seat. Again, you might choose to practice a mudra, find a way to enable focus in mind, the ability to draw your attention inward and withdraw from external stimuli. That practice of pratyahara, this fifth limb of yoga. Five minutes here. Okay, take a deep breath in. Gentle sound to your lips, let it go. And bring your palms to meet at your heart as you bow in to close this practice. In integrating pratyahara in our day-to-day lives, remember the words of Aristotle. What we have the power to do, we have the power not to do. Let's close with one chant of Om. Take a deep breath. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste.